Shabbat Shalom Yasharam.
Shalom, shalom.
All praises to the Most High, power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Hashem Mashiach Yahushua. To order the Most High again for another Shabbat day when Israel can come together in holy convocation. As per the covenant that they made with our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that we should observe throughout our generations. Okay? We are the Light of Zion located down here in South Florida, Broward County, at 2937 West Broward Boulevard. I'm Elder Bishop Lapalal. To my left,
Officer Aliyah.
And we're going to continue today where we left off on last week by going into the second book of 2 Samuel, chapter 7. But before we do that, let's go to Colossians 3, verse 17.
This is the book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 17. And whatsoever ye do, in word or deed, do all in the name of Mashiach Yahushua, giving thanks to God and the Father by him.
Right, whatever you do in word or deed, meaning what? Whatever you say, whatever action you partake, make sure they're in consistency with the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High and the teaching of the Mashiach, the Yahushua. Right? Okay, let's go to 2 Samuel, chapter 7.
The book of 2 Samuel, chapter 7, verse 1. And it came to pass, when the king sat in his house, and the Most High had given him rest round about from all his enemies, that the king said unto Nathan, the prophet, see now, I dwell in an house of cedar, but the ark of God dwelleth within its curtains.
Right, so now David at this time, is more or less situated in the house. Because before David was established on the throne, he had to wage many wars. Many wars with Saul, his fellow Israelites, and with other nations, particularly the Philistines. But now most of his enemies are more or less subdued and recognize that David is now a force to reckon with, and the Most High was with him. So they were kind of hesitant before they, so to speak, run up on David or try to confront him or start a battle with him. And David removed the flag and said, I'm in my house, I'm good. But the Ark of the Covenant was within curtains. You know what? It's not in a permanent or suitable dwelling place. So he was seeing what he should do to change that situation regarding the Ark of the Covenant, getting it into a better place. Read on.
Verse 3. And Nathan said to the king, go, do all that is in thy heart, for the Most High is with thee. And it came to pass that night that the word of the Most High came unto Nathan, saying, go and tell my servant David, thus saith the Most High, shalt thou build me an house? Shall build me an house for me to dwell in?
Read 5 again.
Verse 5. Go and tell my servant David, thus says the Most High, shalt thou build me an house for me to dwell in? Whereas I have not dwelt in any house since the time I brought up the children of Israel out of Egypt, even to this day, but have walked in a tent in a tabernacle. Verse 7. In all the places wherein I have walked with all the children of Israel, spake I a word with any of the tribes of Israel, whom I commanded to feed my people Israel, saying, why build ye not me an house of cedar? Verse 8. Now therefore, so shalt thou say unto my servant David, thus says the Most High of hosts, I took thee from the sheepcote, from following the sheep, to be ruler over my people, over Israel. And I was with thee whithersoever thou wentest, and have cut off all thine enemies out of thy sight, and have made thee a great name, like unto the name of the great men that are in the earth. Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and I will plant them, that they may dwell in a place of their own, and move no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them any more, as before time.
Right. So David was considering building a place for the Ark of the Covenant, and consulted with Nathan the prophet, and Nathan said, do whatever you want to do. The Most High with you, whatever's in your heart, do that. And then the Most High now appeared to Nathan the prophet, and said, I told Nathan to tell David, his servant, I'm reflecting on how the Most High took David from a low state, from a little shepherd boy, and brought him down to put on the throne to rule over the most prominent and powerful people on earth, the Israelites. Understand? And the Most High has subdued all of David's enemies that were battling him from the very beginning to up until this point. And the Most High never asked him to build a tabernacle for the Ark of the Covenant. But let's read on.
Verse 11. And as since the time that I commanded judges to be over my people Israel, and have caused thee to rest from all thy enemies, also the Most High telleth thee that he will make thee an house. And David, and when thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom.
Right. So Most High told David, I was with you from the very beginning, even to the time when we had judges ruling over Israel, before we had kings. When we had judges ruling over Israel. The other nation had kings, but we had judges. And I brought you through that perilous times and subdued all the enemies. And now and I'm gonna be with you throughout your rulership. And when you're old, you will I'll make sure you have your rest of your forefathers. You did before the rest of the forefathers. Then I will set up your seed after you, and I will establish his kingdom. Read on.
Verse 13. He shall build an house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever.
He shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. Read. I
will be his father, and he shall be my son.
So the Most High let him know, well, then David know, I mean, it's not going to be a responsibility to build a kingdom, to build a tabernacle for the Ark of the Covenant. He shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. Read on.
I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men, and with the stripes of the children of men. I will be
his father, and he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men, and with the stripes of the children of men. A lot of people are speculating. He's just talking about David's actual son, or because he said, I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. Was David's actual sons like Solomon? Was his son? I know we better jump in the gun because Solomon is being established yet. Right now at the very, very beginning of David's rulership. Solomon is not even probably even born yet or established yet. But most of letting David know that the kingdom is going to be on the throne, the rulership, the permanent rulership is going to be established from out of his loins, from someone from coming out of his loins, from his lineage, not from David himself. Read on.
Verse 15. But my mercy shall not depart away from him, as I took it from Saul, whom I put away before thee. And thine house and thy kingdom shall be established forever before thee. Thy throne shall be established forever.
Right. And thine house and thy kingdom shall be established forever before thee. Thy throne shall be established forever. You know, David is not going to live forever. And even his children after him are not going to live forever. But the Most High let us know right here that the everlasting kingdom was going to come from the lineage of David. It's going to come from a seed line, from his descendants. Read.
According to all these words, and according to all this vision, so did Nathan speak unto David.
Right. So Nathan went and conveyed all that information to David that the Most High told him. Read on.
Then went King David in and sat before the Most High, and he said, Who am I, O Most High God, and what is my house that thou hast brought me hitherto?
Right. So now David now was acknowledging what Nathan had said to him and want to inquire further of the Most High. Said, Who am I, Most High? And what's my role? What do you want me to, what do you expect of me? Because David realized that the Most High it's put him in a very important, prominent position to be king over his chosen people. And as Nathan had told him that, hey, the kingdom of the Most High of this nation was going to come through David's lineage. So David realized, hey, I'm not an ordinary guy, but I feel like an ordinary guy. Basically where I'm coming from, a little shepherd boy. But the Most High sees him differently. So David asked him, Who am I? Then when King David in and sat before the Most High, and he said, Who am I, O Most High, and what is my house that thou hast brought me hither? Yeah, well, who am I? What's so important about me and my people, my lineage, my father's house, that you brought me and put me in this position? Read.
Verse 19. And this was yet a small thing in thy sight, O Most High God, but thou hast spoken also of thy servant's house for a great while to come.
Right. So David was saying, this is a small thing in your sight. Yeah? It's a small thing to you, but it's a big deal to me. Plus, thou hast spoken also of thy servant's house, which is my house, David's house, for a great while to come. So David recognized that the Most High was basically revealing a prophecy to him of how the kingdom of Israel, kingdom of heaven, was going to be established through David's lineage in future generation. Read.
And is this the manner of man, O Most High God?
And is this the manner of man, O Most High? Read on. Is this a manner of man? Is something that man can imagine, or is it something that you're going to be make sure it get established? Read on.
Verse 20. And what can David say more unto thee? For thou, O Most High God, knowest thy servant. For thy word's sake, and according to thine own heart, hast thou done all these great things, to make thy servant known them. Wherefore thou art great, O Most High, for there is none like thee, neither is there any God power beside thee, according to all that we have heard with our ears.
Right. So David was basically humbling himself and acknowledging the Most High for who he is, the Most High, that there is no other power besides the Most High power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Understand that Now the Most High was gracious to reveal all those things to David concerning his house and what role he should play in the nation of Israel. Read on.
Verse 23. And what one nation in the earth is like thy people, even like Israel?
Right. Just like the Most High is great, there's no power beside the Most High. What other nation in the earth is like unto thy people? There's no other nation like unto the nation of Israel. Read on.
Whom, verse 23. And what one nation in the earth is like thy people, even like Israel, whom God went to redeem for a people to himself, and to make him a name, and to do for you great things and terrible, for thy land before thy people, which thou redeemest to thee from Egypt, from the nations and their gods.
Right. So this is basically a rhetorical question. What other nation is there like unto Israel? Even whom the Most High went to redeem for a people to himself and to make him a name. So the Most High redeemed Israel from the bondage we were in under Pharaoh for 400 years. And the Most High, in doing that, made a name for himself in front of Israel and in front of the heathens. With all those miracles and plagues that the Most High, performed. The plagues that he plagued Egypt with, plus bringing them through the Red Sea, all those things, feeding us with manna for 40 years, the miracles that were performed, good and bad, signs of the situation the Most High made Israel to witness during that 40 years in the wilderness. Read on.
Verse 24. For thou hast confirmed to thyself thy people, to Israel, to be a people unto thee forever.
Right. So the Most High confirmed to himself Israel to be a people unto him forever. So even though we scattered amongst the heathens, and the name of Israel is no more in remembrance, except for those of us who have been brought back to a heritage, we are still a nation. There's no such thing as a spiritual Israelite as a church would like to have us believe. Everybody cannot be an Israelite, a Hebrew Israelite. You have to be from the lineage of the 12 sons of Jacob to be a Hebrew Israelite. The church is talking about the spiritual Israelite thing. Everyone can be, grafted in. Everyone can be, get this, be naturalized Israelite.
Mm-hmm.
There's no such thing. The Most High made us a people to himself forever. Even though in these times we go around calling ourselves by these fake names that were given to us by our slave masters and other nations, the Most High still acknowledges us as a nation that will be with him forever. Read on.
Verse 25. No, verse 24. I gotta finish 24.
Right.
Verse 24. For thou hast confirmed to thyself thy people Israel to be a people unto thee forever, and thou, Most High, art become their power. And now, O Most High power, the word that thou hast spoken concerning thy servant and concerning his house, establish it forever, and do as thou hast said.
Right. So no, David wanted, yeah. And now, O Most High, the word that thou hast spoken concerning thy servant David and concerning his house, establish it forever and do as thou hast said. So David wanted Most High to confirm and establish what he said concerning David and how the kingdom was going to be established through David's lineage. Read on.
Verse 26. And let thy name be magnified forever, saying, the Most High of hosts is the power over Israel. And let the house of thy servant David be established before thee. For thou, O Most High of hosts, power of Israel, hast revealed to thy servant, saying, I will build thee an house. Therefore hath thy servant found in his heart to pray this prayer unto thee. And now, O Most High God, thou art that power, and thy words be true, and thou hast promised this goodness unto thy servant. Therefore, now let it please thee to bless the house of thy servant, that it may continue forever before thee. For thou, O Most High God, hast spoken it, and with thy blessings let the house of thy servant be blessed forever.
Right. So that's David right there requesting a confirmation of his blessing. Not only the Most High, that hey, he's chosen David to have a kingdom established through David's lineage, and want to bless David's house. And David was always hey, he couldn't wait for the confirmation and acknowledgement of that blessing that the Most High was blessing him with. All right, that was chapter 7. Now let's start chapter 8. 2 Samuel chapter 8, verse 1.
2 Samuel chapter 8 and verse 1. And after this it came to pass that David smote the Philistines and subdued them. And David took Ammah out of the hand of the Philistines. And he smote Moab and measured them with a line, casting them down to the ground. Even with 2 lines measured, he put to death, and with 1 full line to keep alive. And so the Moabites became David's servant and brought gifts.
Right, so 2 enemies that David fought. David took and after this it came to pass that David smote the Philistines. Yeah, those very same Philistines, the old nemesis, and he smoked the Moabites and he measured them in line. I mean, I guess it's basically what that means, an estimate of the population. A certain portion of them he killed, the Moabites, and the other one, a certain portion of them became, and also the Moabites became David's servants and brought gifts. The rest of them, he put them in slavery, bondage, and have them pay tribute to Israel. Read on.
Verse 3. And David smote also Hadad Ezer, the son of Rehob, king of Zobah, as he went to recover the border at the river Euphrates. And David took from him 1,000 chariots and 700 horsemen and 20,000 footmen. And David hogged all the chariots, horses, but reserved of them 400 chariots. Verse 5. And when the Syrians of Damascus came to secure Hadad Ezer, king of Zobah, David slew the Syrians 22,000 men.
Right, so they were saying all those different nations went about it. The Syrians came to defend King Hadadezer. David slew them too. Read on.
Verse 6. Then David put garrisons in Syria of Damascus, and the Syrians became servants to David and brought gifts. And the Lord preserved David whithersoever he went. And David took the shields of gold that were on the servants of Hadad Ezer and brought them to Jerusalem. And from Betha and from Berothai, cities of Hadad Ezer, king, David took exceeding much brass.
Right. So when he subdued his enemies, they had to pay tribute to him. With their natural resources, and so on and so forth.
Verse 9. When Toi, king of Hamath, heard that David had smitten all the host of Hadad Ezer, then Toi sent Joram, his son, unto King David, to salute him and to bless him, because he had fought against Hadad-ezer and smitten him. For Hadad-ezer had wars with Toi, and Joram brought with him vessels of silver and vessels of gold and vessels of brass.
Right. So this king now, King Haram, was very grateful, happy to know that David had smitten this King Hadad-ezer, because the same very King Hadad-ezer had fought against the Toi and Joram. So they sort of brought gifts to give to David and thanking him for subduing the old enemy. Read on.
Verse 11, which also King David did dedicate unto the Most High, with the silver and gold that he had dedicated of all nations.
Which also King David did dedicate unto the Most High with the silver and gold that he had dedicated of all the nation which he subdued. Read on.
Verse 12. Of Syria and of Moab and of the children of Ammon and of the Philistines and of Amalek and of the spoil of Hadad-ezer, son of Rehob, king of Zobah.
Right. So David got a lot of spoils from all these different nations. Read on.
Verse 13. And David got him a name when he returned from smiting the Syrians in the valley of Salt, being 18,000 men. And he put garrisons in Edom. Throughout all Edom put he garrisons. And all they of Edom became David's servants. And the Most High preserved David, whithersoever he went, the water. And David reigned over all Israel. And David executed judgment and justice unto all his people. And Joab the son of Zeruiah.
So David was a righteous king, and David reigned over all Israel, and David executed judgment and justice unto all his people. So he reigned over all the 12 tribes, and he was a righteous king. Read on.
Verse 16. And Joab the son of Zeruiah was over the host, and Jehoshaphat the son of Ahilud was recorded, and Zadok the son of Ahitub and Ahimelech the son of Abiathar were the priests, and Sariah was the scribe.
And Zadok the son of Ahitub and Ahimelech the son of Abiathar were the priests. Okay. You know.
Verse 18. And Benaiah the son of Jehoiada was over the Cherethites and the Pelethites, and David's sons were chief rulers.
All right. So by this time, David's sons were growing up. Read on.
2 Samuel, chapter 9. Chapter 9 and verse 1. And David said, is there yet any that is left in the house of Saul, that I might show him kindness for Jonathan's sake?
Right. So David.
Shalom.
Shalom. Mic check. Okay, it's back on. Okay. So David remembered the friendship he had and the bond that he made with Jonathan. So David was inquiring if there was any of Saul's relatives left. Then he could show them kindness, not for Saul's sake, but for Jonathan, his brother's sake, because they were like brothers. Read on.
Verse 2. And there was of the house of Saul a servant whose name was Zibiah. And when they had called him unto David, the king said unto him, art thou Zibiah? And he said, thy servant is he. Right.
So there was one left as the house of Saul. His name is Zibiah. Read on.
Verse 3. And the king said, is there not yet any of the house of Saul, that I might show him the kindness of the Most High unto him? And Ziba said unto the king, Jonathan has yet a son, which is lame on his feet. Verse 4, and the king said unto him, where is he? And Ziba said unto the king, behold, he is in the house of
Makir,
the son of Amil in Lo-Debar. Verse 5, then King David sent and fetched him out of the house of Makir, the son of Amil from Lo-Debar.
Right. So Jonathan had a son. You know when they were escaping, Jonathan's son had fell off the horse or the donkey, whatever, and hurt himself, got paralyzed. That's Jonathan's son. You know.
Verse 6. Now when Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, was come unto David, he fell on his face and did reverence.
Well, that's his name. Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, was come to David. He fell on his face, did reverence. So he was humbling himself to David. Read on.
And David said, Mephibosheth. And he answered, behold, thy servant. And David said unto him, fear not, for I will surely show thee kindness for Jonathan thy father's sake, and will restore thee all the land of Saul thy father, and thou shalt eat bread at my table continually. And he bowed himself and said, what is thy servant, that thou shouldest look upon such a deed, dead dog as I am?
Right. So David said, don't worry about it. He was very humble, humbling himself to David. David said, for Jonathan's sake, I'm going to treat you well. Okay, I'm going to restore everything that previously belonged to Saul to you, and you will continually eat at my table. I'm going to keep you close to me, because you're Jonathan's son. Okay, so I'm going to show you kindness because Jonathan and I were close and bonded like that. Read on.
Verse 9.
So he was in a. Who am I? I mean, I'm nobody. I mean, why you show me this kindness? Well, go ahead.
In the Caribbean, I used to see this a lot. People that because your father was good to them,
right?
They tend to be good to you. I always see this people among the Caribbean.
God, yeah. They remember the kindness that your father, your mother, or relatives show them. You know what I mean? When they were young, so they returned the favor. Right. You know?
Verse 9. Then the king called to Ziba, Saul's servant, and said unto him, I have given unto thy master's son all that pertained to Saul, and to do all his house. Thou therefore and thy sons and thy servants shall till the land for him, and thou shalt bring in the fruits, that thy master's son have food to eat. But Mephibosheth, thy master's son, shall eat bread always at my table. Now Ziba had 15 sons and 20 servants.
Right, so Ziba, so David told Ziba, it's Benjamin, who had brought Jonathan's son. Okay, I restored all the land that previously belonged to Saul, to Jonathan's son. So I want you to do to oversee all this, and make sure that you till the land, plant the crops, and reap the harvest and all that, so that he can eat. But he can eat. So, but in the meantime, let me get his name right. Kind of difficult to pronounce. Let me get his name right again. His name is Mephibosheth. Shall eat at my table. So basically, who's going to be David's presence continually. But in the meantime, Ziba was supposed to make sure that the land was being taken care of for Mephibosheth's sake. Read on.
Verse
about Ziba himself, he had 15 sons. What did it say?
Yeah, 15 sons and 20 servants.
I feel servants. See, I say he had a big team there that could delegate all those responsibilities to. Read on.
Verse 11. Then said Ziba unto the king, according to all that my lord the king hath commanded his servant, so shall thy servant do. As for Mephibosheth, said the king, he shall eat at my table as one of the king's sons. And Mephibosheth had a young son whose name was Micah. And all.
Oh, yeah, the Micah. Let me see that. Micah. So is that the same? Okay. Machir. Okay. So this so the Mephibosheth grew up in the house of Machir. Okay. I know he's going to call his son Micah. I'll get a son he's going to call him Micah. Read on.
Verse 12. And Mephibosheth had a young son whose name was Micah, and all that dwelt in the house of Ziba were servants unto Mephibosheth. So Mephibosheth dwelt in Jerusalem, for he did eat continually at the king's table, and was lame on both his feet. Continue.
Read chapter 10.
2 Samuel chapter 10 and verse 1. And it came to pass after this, that the king of the children of Ammon died, and Hanun his son reigned in his stead.
Right, so now we're going to focus a little bit on the Ammonites. All right. It came to pass the king of Ammon, Ammon died, and his son Hanun ruled in his stead. Read, right?
Verse 2. Then said David, I will show kindness unto Hanun, the son of Naash, as his father showed kindness unto me. And David sent to comfort. And David sent to comfort him by the hand of his servant for his father. And David's servant came in the land of the children of Ammon.
So can you get him up? Yeah. Yeah. So we can see where Ammon was and all that. We can see about David, as much as he loved his nation Israel, he also had good relation with certain other heathen countries. He had a good relation with them. I mean, of course, as long as they recognize, hey, he's the dominant force.